Hello, all carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the west. More specifically, we are in Sterling, Colorado. I am continuing my journey east. I'm heading towards Rochester, New York, trying to hopefully get there within the next few days. But of course, as I'm traveling around the country, I do want to stop and see some interesting things along the way, which brings us here to Sterling, Colorado, where they have a very interesting statue here in front of the courthouse. Yes, right here on the corner in front of the courthouse, we have this statue of Clarence Mentgen, known locally as the Popcorn Man. He actually sold popcorn on this corner for almost 40 years. And here we see in the statue him giving some popcorn to a young child. And I love to see this, I really do. You know, normally we get a lot of statues across this country of politicians, of military heroes, and that's fine. I have no issue with that whatsoever. But I think it's great to see some statues commemorating some normal people, some local people that touched the lives of the people around them. Now, I never met the Popcorn Man, but I can tell from the statue here that he must have made a huge imprint on the locals. If they raise a statue to you, if you spent your life selling popcorn, and then once you pass, they erect a statue of you, that's got to be a life well spent, a life of creating memories for people, and then to have yourself enshrined in a physical memory here on the corner. It's great. I always love seeing normal people. You know, maybe normal is not the best word, because obviously he was a special person that touched the lives of many, but you know, the folk heroes, the local heroes, I love seeing them memorialized in statues. In fact, let me know in the comments section if you know of any statues of normal, everyday people who managed to make an imprint on the world to the point where they had a statue created. So looking for statues of folk heroes, everyday people that are emblazoned in statue glory. But they didn't just erect a statue of Clarence here in Sterling, Colorado. They also recreated his popcorn stand, known as Clarence's Corner, here on the corner of the courthouse here. You can peek inside. It's not currently open, but you can see the old popcorn making equipment in here. There's some old candy boxes up there on the top. Now apparently, what they do with this is different groups can rent it out as a fundraising opportunity. So this isn't like normally just like a commercial popcorn stand, but local groups that want to do a little bit of fundraising can rent this out and sell popcorn and hot dogs and other treats in order to raise money for their organizations. See the sign painted on the window here: the Fair and Rodeo, July 28th through August 7th. It gets me thinking about fair season. I'm looking forward to checking out some state fairs this fall. Should be a lot of fun. Come over here to the local park to see another interesting statue, and this one is fascinating in a much different way. This is the Dream Redeemer. And look at this. This statue is incredible, and they don't give much explanation on what or why of what's going on here, but I don't know, just take a look at this. You see this creature of some sort. He's got like a clock with wings on it on his chest, and looks like he's putting balloons into this machine. There's a crank, there's some pedals. He's operating this machine, and then it looks like out of the machine the balloons are inflating, and we see there's one with a Pegasus on it. There's one with a castle and one with a pirate ship. So I don't know, the balloons are dreams. I think there's a lot of interpretations. I mean, I love the look here. It's this is a wild creature, kind of the steampunk aesthetic here. It's really fascinating. And again, there's no explanation really on what is going on here or why this was built, but it is amazing. And I just noticed this. Look closely at that face. He's got 2 ears on that one side of his head. And all they give us of the Dream Redeemer is this poem. Ticks and tucks of magic clocks, hands whirling as they run, meshing gears, rewind the years, erasing all that's done. Night and day he churns away, with passion he redeems. Deflated lives his throne revives, marching all new dreams. Now, as I travel the country, I have some rules that I live by, and one of them I call the rule, and that is that I try to never pass up a museum. I feel like, you know, there's little museums dotting America, and I feel like every single one of them has something amazing in it. You may not know when you enter the door the amazing thing you're going to see. It may just be one thing, it may be a few things, but I find that almost every museum is worthwhile to stop by. So I try not to drive past museums. I try to, as long as they're open, to stop by and see what's inside. And that's what we're going to do here at the Overland Trail Museum here in Sterling, Colorado. Out front we have this sea of farming equipment. These devices used for placing produce into the ground for all of us to munch on. Up there you can see the Welcome to Colorful Colorado sign. And yes, here in Colorado things are very colorful. Let's step inside here, the Overland Trail Museum. Yeah, up here they have the evolution of the horse, something that I'm fascinated with. You can see how tiny the horses originally were. You can see them grow into a modern horse there. And next to the buffalo head here, we have some more Ice Age animals there. The saber-toothed tiger, the Protocerus, and the Archaeotherum. This room here full of arrowheads. Remember, my grandfather used to take me out into the cornfields in Indiana and look for arrowheads, and I remember being with him and him just reaching down to the ground and pulling up a fully formed arrowhead, and I thought it was one of the most magical moments of my life. So it was amazing that you could find something that old just laying around on the ground. Of course, with the reason was the cornfields is because they would turn, you know, they'd till the fields, and that would actually bring up the old arrowheads that were buried underground. See the little dolls there, and then this coyote hat. You can see these little miniatures here. Looks like the U.S. Army coming in and attacking this Indian village. And here we have a very tiny replica of the town that we're in, Sterling, Colorado. This is back in 1874. There's a little mini cattle drive there. See, they have 2 different pelicans. This
This fireplace here looks like got a piece of petrified wood here in the center. See the beautiful quilts in here, and then a quilt dress there. You can see this large dollhouse here. There's a couple with their baby there on the balcony. Yeah, dollhouse is pretty fascinating, the amount of detail that goes in. You can just peek in any window there. You can see it's fully furnished. Up here in the attic, got like a pool table. I have this doll collection here. Little baby there, his eyes bugging out. Yeah, lots of different dolls here. But what catches my eye the most is this up here. That is a Little Miss No Name. It's a doll created by Hasbro, and the doll is a doll of a homeless little girl. She had no shoes. She just wears a burlap sack. She has sad eyes and has one hand out, begging for food. It was generally considered a failure and a very strange concept behind a doll, but apparently nowadays they are very rare and valuable. Yeah, I definitely have a massive collection of dolls in here. Oh, over here, that's that one there is an apple head doll, where they use a petrified apple for head. You cut the, kind of like I did with the Vincent Price shrunken head, they carve a face and then the apple shrivels and creates a head. We got little Pinocchio there, who's not yet turned into a real boy. There's a taxidermied antelope there. And lurking in this box below these model covered wagons, got this vicious mountain lion. Always fascinated about these chairs made out of horns. This is actually a horned rocking chair. Military section over here featuring various military uniforms. Well, at the back here they have a courtyard behind the museum. But here it looks like you can practice lassoing cattle. Got the cattle here with a cow head on a hay bale and this like sawhorse cow here. Got him by the horn there. Have a Replica Town back here. This is the barber shop there. You can tell by the pole. See what's in the barber shop. Got little barber chairs. The mirrors here, so you can check out your new haircut. And look at that, it was only 5 cents to get your mustache curled. Over here you can see this vintage hair curling machine, which looks pretty terrifying. Looks almost like some sort of torture device that connects to your hair. So it's, I guess, a giant hair dryer there. Man, people had a lot of trust in these scary looking machines back in the day. This is the Stony Butts Schoolhouse. Stony Butts. See, it says welcome to Stony Butts there. Man, it must have been hard to keep the children from giggling about the name Stony Butts. There's the Evangelical Lutheran Concordia Church. Take a little peek inside the church here. Okay. Nice little church inside. And here we have a picture of a giant Jesus floating above this church. Back in the day, when I was broke and I'd like to go take pictures, I remember one thing I would always do, because I couldn't travel very far, is I'd just go check out like the old country churches. Back where I lived in North Carolina, a lot of them just left their doors open, so you could just go inside, hang out, relax, take some photos. It just has. So every time I've been like an old church like this, it kind of reminds me back of those days, back when I would, like go to cemeteries, churches, things that were free, things that were just things that were interesting in the area, but I didn't have to travel, didn't have to spend money on. Coming up on the general store here, you see an old advertisement for X-Lax, the safe chocolated laxative. Chocolated. Keep regular with X-Lax. Inside the, hear the squeak of the door there. So we head inside the old general store, where you go to buy just general things that you need around the house. Sewing equipment, some little toys, different cleaning supplies here, including gold dust washing powder, which is from a much less sensitive time. In the back of the general store, apparently we have a doctor's office. Looks like this young child over here is getting maybe getting some x-rays done. It's a shiny new building back out this way. It's the High Plain Education Center. Oh, there's a antelope statue. I think when I get back east, I'm gonna miss all the dinosaurs that we met along the way. Exhibit on solar power there. And look what we have here around the corner. We have a genuine two-headed calf. And I always feel if a museum has a two-headed calf, if you get to go to a museum and see a two-headed calf, that's a museum worth visiting here. You can definitely see it has the full two heads there. So this two-headed calf, born in 1966, and it was actually taxidermied by the local high school students. If you're looking here, they actually have old Polaroids of the high school students taxidermying the calf. You can see they apparently used the original skulls as a base and then built the framework of the body there. You can see two high school boys and a nun preparing the hide to be placed on the frame. And there they are, affixing the hide to the frame. Across the way here we have an old Conoco gas station. These old pumps here are called visible pumps because it actually would have the gas in the top there, and you could actually see it going down. You could see how much gas was left in the tank. It's the old service station here. Up there they have old-timey tires. You can see the outfits of the mechanics there. The old cigarette machine. It says, minors are forbidden to operate the machine. Yeah, that's why they don't have these anymore. It turns out that just putting that there doesn't stop minors from helping themselves to cigarettes. They have an old home located here on the property. Lots of stuff in this museum. It was way bigger than I thought it would be. It has all these different buildings to it. So enter the old house here. Oh, look at this. They have a collection of elephants. All these little tiny elephants here. So enter the kitchen. Oh, there's a baby. Little baby there. The baby's eating a green pepper. Now that reminds me of Annabelle. Believe it or not, when Annabelle was little, she would love to eat raw green peppers. She would just take them and eat them like apples. So, oh yeah, makes me think of Anna. There's another baby hiding back here in the baby room. You can see them having a little stuffed animal tea party there.
And now we enter the great state of Nebraska. Nebraska, apparently the home of the good life. Got a little rodeo cowboy there. And apparently, I did not know this, Nebraska is the home of Arbor Day, the day that we celebrate trees. Now originally, before Annabelle was born, we were gonna name her Nebraska. That was actually her original name. We decided on it. It was settled. And everyone in me and Christy's family hated it. No one liked it. My mom did not want us to name her Nebraska. Christy's grandparents were very, very, very negative towards the name Nebraska. So we did buckle to pressure and name her Annabelle. That was our second choice. After our first choice, Nebraska was soundly rejected by all those around us. Stopped off here in Ogalla, Nebraska. You can see the water tower there actually painted like a UFO. You can see the alien there peering out from the window of the UFO. And it's all kind of fitting. Remember during the War of the Worlds radio scare, during the panic, someone actually mistook a water tower for an alien craft. So it all comes full circle. And the EM rule stays in effect. So we stop off here at the Front Street Free Museum. You can see the little cowboy there waving. Kind of reminds me of Vegas Vic out in Las Vegas. See the facade here is like a Old West town. The Undertaker shop. The Tonsorial Palace. Isn't that the Tonsorial? I always forget that. I always forget what Tonsorial means. I think it's not. Isn't that like an Old West dentist maybe? And then of course the jail and the general store. Peek in these windows here. Into the jail here. Oh yeah, you can see the cowboy. They got locked up. We enter through the saloon here. They actually have a stage where they do some Old West shows. But the museum is here on the other side. This buffalo head up here, as well as a steer, and I think that's a porcupine looking down on us. Alright, so we enter the museum here. Oh, okay, here we go. We enter here into the funeral parlor. See that old school Wild West horse-drawn hearse. And then over here is the Undertaker. And look behind him, you can see they actually have a hair wreath. They would take the hair of the deceased and make a wreath to remember them by. And over here we can actually look inside of the different shops that we saw on the exterior. This is the sheriff's office. Back there we have the sheriff, his wife, and their young baby there, and a deer wearing a hat. And there you can see the jail cell. And then over here have a Native American playing a game of checkers. Here's the barbershop or tonsorial
palace, as some like to call it. You can see the barber, I guess, getting ready to give that gentleman a big old shave there. And on that back coat rack, you can see where they've hung up a buffalo skin coat, a raccoon skin hat, and someone's prosthetic leg. It says this is the first unisex toilet. Unfortunately, it is out of order. So I guess that's their way of saying don't poop in our museum. Up here you can see they have a little miniature of the museum here. We entered through the barn there, went through the saloon into the museum area here, where you have the Undertaker and the Tonsorial Palace. Oh, on the other side of the model, you can actually take a peek inside of the restaurant, saloon, and museum. Here is actually the museum that we are currently in. There's some items here used for both gambling, drinking, and shooting. We'll exhibit here on ladies of the oldest profession, and I guess they like to call them soiled doves. I don't believe I've ever heard that term before, soiled doves. We have the wandering cowboy Pinnacle Jake. It says, Pinnacle Jake, as he looked in his youth, probably 25 years old. You see from that picture, that's a rough 25. People lived harder back then. Oh, and look what we have up here. This is not your normal, average, everyday jackalope. This is a Nebraska Sandhills warrior rabbit. This is a rare species. It exists only in the Sandhill area of Nebraska. It's actually much larger and more imposing than a normal jackalope. I guess hence the name warrior rabbit. Here you can be either a wandering cowboy or a soiled dove. Now up here we have a taxidermied bald eagle, and that's pretty rare. You don't have a lot of taxidermied bald eagles around for obvious reasons, but I think this holds the distinction of being the roughest looking, scrunchiest looking taxidermied bald eagle I've ever seen. Different Old West exhibits here. Have the Law and Order exhibit here with a billy club meant for beaten prisoners, and some shackles for restraining inmates. And there's another beating implement there. Old children's covered wagon there. Fortunately, it doesn't look like it's plugged in. Otherwise, we'd go for a ride. Some taxidermy up there. Got the rooster, the squirrel, and the little bird. Yeah, there's other random stuff up here on the top shelves. The drum there, the raven. And check out this howling coyote there. One thing you see in almost every Wild West museum is a barbed wire collection, where it shows off all the different types of barbed wire. Yeah, all these different styles, but every single one of them will rip your flesh off. Some pretty cool cowboy hats here. It looks like this one is made out of wheat. And this one actually, that has a mural of the museum on it, as well as a longhorn pin there. And look at this hat here. It's got all sorts of old buildings on it with an outhouse right in front. There is a gambling machine, the old one-armed bandit there. But apparently this one's not working, so we can't gamble our money away. See up there, that is a windmill blade being carried by that truck on the overpass there.
And another day comes to an end out here on the long, lonesome road. I managed to make it to Omaha, Nebraska. So I finally feel like I'm getting a little closer to my goal, to getting back to Rochester to see Jen and to watch WrestleMania. Yeah, it's been trying to put a lot of miles behind me on this road trip, but yeah, but I definitely don't want to. I still want to stop when I see a museum or a silly statue. You know, that's part of what keeps me going out here on the long, lonesome road. So we're gonna continue heading east, and we're gonna continue stopping and seeing all the fun and unusual stuff along the way. So thank you guys for watching. If you're new here, I travel around the country. I film roadside attractions, amusement parks, museums, haunted houses, and other fun random stuff. If you'd like to help support the channel, consider contributing to Patreon. $3 or more will get you a postcard once a month from me to you. Also selling enamel pins in the Etsy shop down there. And I'm currently doing cameos. I'm actually gonna, after I'm done recording this, I'm gonna record some cameos for some people that have requested them. If you want a fun message from me, if you want to send it for someone's birthday, anniversary, or just a fun special occasion, check out the link below for Cameo, and I would be more than happy to send a message your way. And all, you know, all that stuff, the Patreon, the pins, the Cameo, all that helps keep this train on the track, this boat on the water, and this dirigible in the air. Until tomorrow, my friends, this one's in the bag.
Always gives me a weird feeling when you check into a hotel and it says your name on the TV. Makes me feel like the room is haunted.